10 years ago, I was certain a little game called Bulletstorm was going to be the next big thing. Why? Well, it had this big electric whip thing that you can use to pull enemies towards you, and you can make them go. You could shoot somebody in their peen. There was kicking.
Kicking? Oh, I want to do some kicking!
You could kick dudes onto a cactus, you could just smush them, pancake them, and yeah, you knew it was gonna be good because the characters would say funny things like dick and bag of dicks. And a girl with gun will say stuff like I will kill your
dicks.
What? What does that even mean? You're gonna kill my dick?
Dick, pee. Being 14 years old, this game was supposedly engineered for yours truly. Aesthetically, this thing looked like a mix of Halo, Gears of War, and Vanquish in a blender. Speaking of which, that power slide, ooh, that looked so sexy. Now I knew, now that there were two games that had the power slide in them, this thing was going to be the next staple of FPS games and shooters everywhere. Same way things like melee combat and aiming down sights start showing up. Yep, the power slide, baby, it's gonna be in everything. Put all your stocks into the power slide. It'll happen one day, I guarantee it. Bulletstorm, in my head, is a relatively new game, but that idea quickly falls apart when I remember I rented this thing day one from a little place I believe was called Block of Buster. Went home to play it, and the next 7 hours with this thing went by quick like a drunken haze or some sort of wild fever dream. I think I was fighting some sort of plant thing. There was a cyborg half-man robot cop thing. Was that Cyber Swine?
Part machine, part cop. Combat chip activate.
There was some sort of Wolverine guy, Hugh Jack Blackman.
I will not hesitate to deal with you.
Deal with me. I'll deal with you, robot head jerkass.
Bad guy, General, I think someone said something about a bag of dicks or something, and then there was like a dinosaur and a bunch of explosions, and I think there was supposed to be a sequel? And then I owed a late fee. And that's about the last I ever saw of Bulletstorm. There was a nice next-gen remaster that was now years ago, and then it released on the Switch? Bulletstorm on a portable device, this is insane. This game is brand new in my head. That's right, Blockbuster. Seriously, they dropped this thing on the Switch and then Gearbox didn't tell anybody. Why would they do that? I mean, it's a little Duke Nukem? What? Let me just tell you, it is surreal to play a game like Bulletstorm on a handheld. Like, yeah, it's a 10-year-old game, and even at the time, you think, hey, makes sense, we'll be playing games like this on the go a decade from now, but seeing it in front of me on a Nintendo handheld, no less, it's a trip and a half.
You wanna make out? Just two gruff, military-hardened dudes sitting in an elevator, snuggling out their woes in a totally hetero way.
Here I am experiencing this fever dream for the first time again. You play as Hugh Jack Blackman, who's voiced by Toonami Tom and his squad of mercenaries. They were betrayed by this cartoon evil general guy that says shit like dick and pee-pee cock.
It's you, sloppy shitheads. You killed him to cover up what you do.
Thirsting for revenge, you get jettisoned to this insane prison planet and almost costs the life of your buddy Ishii, who later becomes your cyborg companion, who has to hold off his aggressive robotic protocols.
Your drunken thirst for revenge just killed our crew.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry. You're sorry?
In the game, every shootout is another excuse to try to pull off as many crazy executions as you can. You have the kick, you have the whip, and you have the shoot them in the dick. There's so many environmental kills, each of your weapons has a secondary fire. It's all about just finding fun and creative ways to kill as many enemies as possible. It's fast-paced where it needs to be, but it also slows things down just to make sure you feel as stylish and powerful as possible. It's all coming back to me now. This game's actually pretty fun. See, what I'm realizing I really enjoy about Bulletstorm is you could turn your brain off and enjoy all the visceral carnage and explosions, but a little tiny hamster wheel inside of you that yells obscenities is still working in there, just a little bit. Ain't that right, Mr. Tibbles?
You festering assholes!
Bulletstorm incentivizes experimentation by basically barring more ammo behind these things called skill points. You unlock these points by pulling off these crazy stunts and achievements with each weapon. The more you pull off, the more ammo you can buy to do even more crazy shit and earn even more points. Repeat. It's all just a big cycle. It was cool to have the gameplay centered around this and try to test yourself and pull some of the stuff off. These read like they were made by Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, shoot him in the balls!
You can pretty much breeze through this game by not even looking at this list and still just naturally causing absolute chaos and rampant murder. You'll be fine. You'll get points just for looking at things. After all, this game just wants you to be the champ. That little hit of dopamine I get from watching all those combos flash on screen. To prevent things from getting stale too fast, you do unlock new weapons as the game progresses to pull off even crazier shit. One of the late game guns is this drill shooter, and oh my god, that weapon was so much fun. Even though this game is pretty nice and short, you do become desensitized to all this as the game progresses. It runs close to getting a little bland towards the end. All these special kills and maneuvers just sort of start to lose their luster once that initial shock value goes away. And when this game came out, after I played it, I just became really averse to it. Even though I was pretty much the target age group, like I said, I was 14, I found the writing very eye-rolling and annoying. I didn't find any of the characters funny. I found them flat and bland. I felt like the stylish aspects of this game were just overcompensating for being what was this really shallow shooter with a forgettable plot. There was something about this game I just found to be so smug. And that's because a lot of this game's marketing was centered around making fun of other popular shooters at the time. Bulletstorm was proclaiming to put the fun back in shooter games. They even released this short little downloadable game called Duty Calls.
I am boring. Rank up! Master Sergeant Shooter Person!
A little parody that pokes fun at the tropes of Call of Duty and its linearity and its baby difficulty. It just seems so lame to make fun of a linear game and then, would you look at that, deliver a game that's completely linear.
Hey Fox Club Niner, I'm gonna point at you and say something serious to further develop the game's storyline. Oh, I'm dead. Increasing the drama of the story.
Ha ha ha. You cannot stop me unless the game goes into slow motion for some reason.
Oh, you mean exactly like Bulletstorm's final boss? Wow! Yeah, Bulletstorm differentiates itself by being the stylistic shooter, but you're kinda calling the kettle black here. Playing Bulletstorm now, though, I'm actually coming around to really respecting it as this fun, quick, hyperactive, over-the-top shooter. It sort of reminds me of this movie I rented from that same Blockbuster at the time. I think it was called Darko Donnie. This movie was, by a lot of people, to be considered one that only 14-year-olds would think was profound, and at age 14, that's exactly why I hated it. I thought it was so pretentious and fake deep, almost insulting. But now, as an adult, I think it's a pretty good movie, and the way it handles its themes is pretty creative. I enjoy watching it now, and I can't tell if between this movie and Bulletstorm if this is a sign of me becoming more mature, or if I'm regressing. But yeah, when I played Bulletstorm now, I found the humor and excessive profanity almost endearing. The characters grew on me a little bit more, and I ended up really loving the gameplay loop. Right as things started to feel a little bit stale, the crits were already rolling. I'm now starting to realize Bulletstorm might be one of my favorite shooters last gen. And that's not to say it's not without its issues. The writing is still eye-rolling for sure, but now I roll my eyes with a bit of a smile. There's a lot of profanity and pee-pee poo-poo dick, but now as an adult I realize I'm kind of okay with pee-pee poo-poo dick. 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 So, Bulletstorm does indeed have its issues, but all of these get remedied thanks to one simple fix. The king himself, Duke Nukem. I've been playing a lot of Duke Nukem 3D recently on the Vita, and you can see a lot of the DNA of Bulletstorm in that game. It seems random at first that Duke Nukem would be here, but it makes perfect sense once it happens. Like, of course Duke Nukem is in Bulletstorm.
Groovy.
Challenge yourself.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum. But I don't even know where I am.
Here's how it goes down. It's the same campaign, same characters, most of the same lines and events except one thing. Duke Nukem is now the main character. And he has no clue who any of these people are or why he's here. It's brilliant.
Are you calling me from the job site? You ignorant piece piece of
Shut the fuck up. I'm not even supposed to be in this flashback, and you've got me killing innocents? Fucker.
Go fuck yourself! You shitpaws give chase, I will kill your dicks!
What does that even mean? You're gonna kill my dick? Is that a come on?
Hey, that was actually kind of funny this time. It's weird, but Duke Nukem essentially acts as a nuclear band-aid for almost all of Bulletstorm's issues. Whereas before I found the story generic and forgettable, I found myself actually invested now. Having Duke Nukem as this fish-out-of-water character was hilarious enough, but seeing this self-absorbed meathead slowly start to care about these people and in their problems that he has almost no stake in, the story became weirdly compelling. In Duke Nukem games, he's a fun character in the sense that he just spouts funny one-liners, but seeing him do that here and take up a cause for the greater good selflessly, I got pretty attached to it.
Process that chance of survival.
Can you track the woman?
Come on, kid. Do you know who you're talking to?
I prefer this to the original. I know that's not fair, but by introducing this joke character, they in turn made the humor and the storytelling work way better. It's just fascinating. In the original Bulletstorm, it had this narrative and tonal issue where it kept throwing dick jokes and edgy humor to basically say, hey, look at how much we don't take ourselves seriously. So much so that when Bulletstorm actually tried to have you care about its characters, all those moments of sincerity, they just kind of fell flat. It was hard to connect with these characters, the events, and the humor, and the world too. Like, yeah, it's our future, I guess. They play Burn Baby Burn at one part. It's just kind of a generic post-apocalyptic space shooter wallpaper background. And yeah, it's still vague here in this Duke edition, but now we're viewing it through the groovy, babe-loving lens of Duke Nukem, who also finds this world vague and strange. It makes it way easier to connect to everything.
I am engaged in an endless struggle to maintain dominance of my own mind, thank you.
Oh, that's rough. You got any gum?
Even Duke Nukem himself is now a character I feel more attached to now than I ever did in anything else with him in it. Bulletstorm, in turn, is now the best Duke Nukem game we've had in decades. 2011, we saw Duke Nukem Forever and Bulletstorm come out. One ended up getting critically panned after a decade-long wait, and the other didn't perform well enough for a sequel. So who knew these two would be the perfect remedy for each other? 10 years later, there have been talks of a Bulletstorm sequel every now and then. It's kind of sad because for all of Bulletstorm's issues, they could have easily refined all of them in a sequel. I feel like Bulletstorm was trying to tap into what we eventually got with Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. A fast-paced, visceral, over-the-top skill shooter, whatever you want to call it, but they just didn't go far enough. I feel like had Bulletstorm gotten sequels and was a franchise today, if we were playing Bulletstorm 5 Dick Butt Revenge, I think we would have seen a game that could fit side by side comfortably with those new Doom games. This game also strangely reminds me of Titanfall 2. Both games underperformed and are considered sleeper hit gems. They're both shooters with unique traversal mechanics, and you run around a mysterious planet with your robot companion. Both are great games brimming with potential that deserve a sequel. Make it happen. The first and currently only Bulletstorm game in the series is great. Even 10 years later, there is definitely a lot of potential here for a sequel. I just hope one day it happens, and I hope when it does, I hope Duke's right there too.
He served us well.
I named him Waggleton Pete Tallylicker, but I never got the chance to tell him. He will be remembered.